Hey there. Okay, so now we genuinely need to talk about the new movie called Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man. So I've seen a lot of reviews on TikTok of people saying that the movie was terrible, it was slow paced, it was missing a lot of key plot points, that a lot of key characters were missing, and that in general, it just wasn't a good Peaky Blinders movie. Well, I'm here to tell you that the movie was actually good. Let's start with the first thing that a lot of people miss about the story or don't understand. The main story is centered around Thomas Shelby. The movie is not supposed to be centered around the Peaky Blinders as a whole. That was the purpose of the TV show. We had the TV show so that we could spend each episode on specific characters and their personalities and getting to know them as part of the Peaky Blinders. That's why we had such great characters like Polly Gray or Arthur Shelby. The TV show was there to introduce us to all these different characters, and we all got to know them, right? But you have to keep one thing in mind. This was a movie, and usually movies don't span 6 to 7 hours. This was like, I don't know, I think like a 2 or 3 hour movie. I'm not too sure. So, since it's a movie, obviously a movie cannot include all of the characters from the original cast from the TV show. It just wouldn't make sense and it would take too long to make. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thomas Shelby is the main focus of the story. And a lot of these other characters, they were important in the TV show, but in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to Thomas Shelby's story, it's basically about him, not the Peaky Blinders. That was the point of this movie. Now, remember, Thomas Shelby is a World War I veteran. He was a tunnel digger in France, so he came back to Birmingham with lots of PTSD. And then he became this cold gangster that a lot of people feared. Now, the main reason why Thomas Shelby kept going on is because he wanted to support his family. He wanted to build an empire so that his whole family can enjoy it. But ultimately, his actions have caused the deaths of many beloved characters in the TV show. So in the movie at the beginning, we see Thomas Shelby in this old, I think, abandoned mansion. He's busy writing his autobiography and he's busy smoking the substance. And you can see that he's a man who has basically lost everything. Not in terms of money, but like in terms of family and happiness. He's basically an empty shell of his former self. And you can see that in the various scenes, Thomas ends up talking to himself. He's basically talking to ghosts, and you slowly start to see the decline of his sanity. So, what happens after? Ada tries to tell Tommy that Birmingham is in disarray, and everything has gone to shit, right? And that his son, Duke, has taken over the Peaky Blinders. So now Tommy feels he has nothing to live for, but somehow Ada convinced him to try to save Duke, and basically Birmingham as a whole. So then Tommy tries to stop Duke from doing something completely stupid that he would regret later on. So now when we're introduced to Duke, you can see that the Peaky Blinders gang does not have the same danger or aura that it used to have in the TV show. Thomas Shelby didn't care about the Peaky Blinders after that because the main reason why he did all those things was for his family. But since most of his family disappeared, there was no point in being in the Peaky Blinders. So the Peaky Blinders wasn't the main focal point, it was Tommy. Now, there's one thing that I didn't really understand about the TV show is how Thomas killed his brother Arthur. I just never understood how that could happen. But in the end, Arthur could not overcome those urges and he basically died. But the fact that he died by Tommy's hands is still a bit weird. It just didn't make sense to me. I just didn't understand it. Because we all know Thomas loves his family and he loves Arthur very much. It just didn't make sense how he would just kill his brother like that because he was in a fit of rage because of the way Arthur was busy causing chaos and not having control over himself. I just don't think Thomas would ever do that to his own brother. But I really think there's one scene that really set the tone of the entire movie. The part where Ada dies. Oh my gosh. The way my heart sank because I never thought I would feel that way for a character, especially because we all know Ada as the person who's been trying to keep the family together. She's supposed to be the sensible one, the person who's more intelligent and more likely to, be safe compared to people like Tommy. But the way she got assassinated was so crazy. Like, what did people expect? That they were all going to live happily ever after and whatnot? No, no, no. This was the Peaky Blinders, okay? They had enemies everywhere. Oh yeah, and then I saw a few comments on TikTok of people saying that the way Thomas Shelby died just wasn't right. It just didn't feel earned and it just felt rushed. Now, I totally disagree because Tommy just wanted to end everything. He wanted to end it all. And the fact that he saved his son Duke in that final fight just shows that even though he lost everything, he still felt like there was still something to fight for, and that was his son, Duke, even though they were not really that close together. So, yes, Tommy got shot, and the way he got shot and the way he died just didn't make sense. It didn't feel right. It felt rushed, but you have to keep remembering that Tommy wanted to end everything. And what better way to do that than to save another person's life? And that life being Duke. So I just don't understand why people are so upset about that. Like, did they expect Tommy to just live forever? No, that was not going to be the case. I think it's much better than him like dying or passing away from old age. So the fact that he saved his son but passed away in the end is better fitting to his story than dying from old age in an old mansion, writing autobiographies the whole time. So, yeah. Now, I do understand that the pacing is not the best, but the movie producers didn't really have much of a choice because it's a movie, and a movie cannot span for hours and hours like a TV show. So they basically had to take whatever they could and make it into something decent. So the movie wasn't terrible, it was good, but there were some issues with the pacing, but in overall, the movie was good. It was a good ending to Thomas Shelby's story. But yeah, the way they just ended Ada was just heartbreaking. And you guys remember that scene when Thomas was in the car? And then he immediately realized something was wrong. And then when he jumped out of the vehicle and then he saw his sister, that's when he knew she died. That broke my heart. And the fact that the movie producers put that in the movie shows you that they wanted to put you in the shoes of Thomas Shelby. Because we basically grew up with Ada. So the fact that she just disappeared like that hurts so bad. And I don't know, just props to the movie producers. It was a good movie. It was.